Hello everyone, in this tutorial we want to build a pipeline with multiple OpenAI agents and we want to design the landing page of a product website. We're going to have these agents take roles as product owner, copywriter, designer, and developer, and we're going to sequentially use the response from an agent as the prompt for the next one. Alright, so let's get started. The first block that we need is an OpenAI agent. So I'm just going to drag and drop my block here. As you can see, it has 3 inputs: the role, the prompt, the API key. In order to be able to use these OpenAI agent blocks, you will need to have an OpenAI API key. And then we also need to give a role to each agent, which is going to set the tone and the context for the response. And we also need a prompt. So this first agent is going to be my product owner. So what I'm going to do first is going to change its name. So this is my product owner, product owner. And I'm going to save the change. And then let's give inputs to this block. So for the role and the prompt, we need text blocks. And for the API key, we need a password block. And I'm going to connect each input to its corresponding block. So that is complete. And then the response of the product owner is going to be what sets the prompt for our next agent, which is going to be our copywriter. So we need another OpenAI agent. This one is going to be the copywriter. And the response of the product owner is going to be the prompt for this copywriter. It's going to use the same API key as the other agents. And we also need to set a role for this block. So we need a text block. And then again, the response of the copywriter is going to be the prompt for our designer. So we need one more agent block, and we need to connect the response of the copywriter to the prompt input of this block, which is going to be our designer. So I'm going to change its name to designer. And it's going to use the same API key. And we need a text block to use as the input for the role of this design. And we have one last role that we need to fill up with an OpenAI agent, and that's going to be our developer. So our front-end developer is going to take the response of the designer and turn it into a landing page for our product. So the same OpenAI API key as the ones before. And we also need a text block here. And this is going to be my developer. So I'm going to change its name to a developer. And the response of the developer, we want to be able to see it in this pipeline. So I need my last block, which is going to be a text to HTML block, just to be able to see the result of whatever the developer block is going to generate. And that's it. We have all the blocks that we need, so we can start to fill up the input. So starting with the first block, which is the product owner, we need to set a role and a prompt for this block. So based on my experience, it's the best to be as specific as possible when defining the prompt and the role for any OpenAI agent block. So I have previously typed this up, so I'm just going to copy and paste it here and we can go over it together. So for the role of this block, which is the product owner, I'm saying you are a product owner, you provide detailed information about the product, its features, target audience, and development roadmap. Your task is to give detailed overview about the product and its features. And the prompt is going to be describing what our product actually is. For this tutorial, let's say that we want a product which is an app designed to help athletes track their water consumption throughout the day. And we also need our OpenAI API key. So I'm just going to copy and paste my API key here. And we are done with the product owner. So the next block is our copywriter. The prompt is already filled up with the response coming from the product owner, so we just need to set the role. So for the role of the copywriter, let me copy what I have prepared. So we have, you are a skilled copywriter responsible for creating engaging and persuasive landing page content for a product website. Your task is to take the provided product description and translate it into compelling copy that clearly communicates the product's value, features, and benefits to the target audience. Your writing should be concise, engaging, and designed to encourage visitors to learn more or take action, such as signing up, purchasing, or downloading the app. So as you can see, with both of these blocks, we are trying to be as specific as possible about what we are expecting from each of these blocks as a response. And this will ensure that we get the best response possible from each of these blocks. So the response of the copywriter is going to be the prompt of our designer. And we need to give a role to this designer block. So the same as before, here we have our role, which is you are an expert web designer responsible for creating the layout and positioning of components on a landing page So you are an expert web designer responsible for creating the layout and positioning of components on a landing page for a product website. Your goal is to maximize user engagement by strategically placing call to action elements and clearly describing each section or component of the page. The layout should ensure a clear visual hierarchy, smooth user flow, and a design that highlights the product's key features and benefits. So after the designer, the response is going to be the prompt for our front-end developer. So for the role of this front-end developer, we have here we have you are a front-end developer and you generate a standalone index.html file based on the description that you get as your prompt. And the reason that we have chosen only one standalone HTML file is to be able to show it with a text as HTML block here in our pipeline. So we have used only with CDN or Skypack packages, and for images, put placeholder image of cart size and use this reference for the placeholders. This is all to ensure that the response that this developer block generates is easily displayable in our text as HTML block. So that's why we are ensuring that we have the correct placeholder for the images, because they don't actually have the images here. And we are using the packages that we can easily display here in this block. So we are done with filling up our inputs for each of these blocks, but there are minor changes that we need to make to these blocks here. In order to make changes to the code for any of the blocks, all you need to do is to press this button here. I want to change the developer block code, so I'm just going to press the button and move to the computations.py file. This compute function is what is going to be executed when you press the run button here. As you can see, it's an OpenAI agent, so it's taking the role and the prompt and it's generating a response for us. The reason that I want to modify the code here is because I want only the HTML file to get out of this response. So I want to extract the HTML code and just ignore any possible strings that might be coming before or after my HTML tags. So all I need to do is to here in this chat box we have, which is connected to OpenAI, I'm going to say that take the response and remove the extra strings outside of the HTML tags, which is before the first opening tag and after the last closing tag, and leave the HTML contents intact. So I press enter and I'm waiting for the response. This can take a little bit of time. So basically what I'm trying to say is I want to extract the HTML code and ignore any other thing that can possibly be present in the response. So as you can see, the code is being generated for us. It's ready. So I'm going to select this version of the code to be used as my developer block. And I'm done. And the last thing that I need to do in this text as HTML block, I need to modify it to be able to show what the developer block generates. The reason that we need to modify this is because the way that this HTML text as HTML block is architectured is that it's going to put whatever it receives as the input into this HTML template here. So if it receives a string, it's going to put this string into this template and just show that, which is not what we want. What we want is to directly take the input and put it in an HTML file without any templates. So I'm just going to say that here, which is, let's say, don't use any HTML templates. And directly convert the input which is a string, so the input string, to an HTML file. So this is the prompt that I'm going to give for the code generation. So I'm going to press enter here. Basically, what we want to do in this block is to just get the input and put it in an HTML file. We don't need any of the templates. This can take a minute and it's ready. So there. I just needed to press that, but you can see that in the response that's generated, there is a minor problem. So that's why we have this error here. So we need to see what is being wrong here. So let's see. We have our compute file, checks if it's an instance, and we still have our HTML code. So it's directly converting that. All right, so as you can see, it's still generating a template and putting our code inside the body of that template, which is not something that we want. So instead, I'm going to directly go and modify this code here. I'm going to press this edit code button here. And this is my manual edit window. So what I'm going to do is to directly take this data view input, ignoring the template that we have here. And well, in this line that you see here, we are writing this HTML code inside this file that we have. But instead of that, I'm going to directly use the data view input and put it here. So I'm literally just taking the input and putting it into this HTML file that I have generated. And the HTML path is what we have here, which is the file that we are generating here, and we are populating it with the input that we got in our function. So that looks good. And now we have the HTML as the return value for our function here. All looks good. I'm going to save the code. And I'm going to use this version of the code. This is for the previous one, so I'm going to use this version of the code. And yep, everything looks good. So I'm going to close. And everything's good. I'm going to press run. So this is going to take a couple of minutes. And I have the already run and ready version here in this pipeline. I can show that to you. But as you can see, as this being executed, you can see one by one in which block we are at that time. And then if everything is going okay, this is shown with this green borders. If there is an error that occurs, it's going to be turned into red. But here I have the exact same pipeline. So as you can see, the same roles, the same pipeline. And if I press this, which is the real button, I have the result of my designer, which is this landing page. So as you can see, we have a placeholder for a big logo picture here, and then we have different sections, and we have a good landing page for our hydration hero application. All right, so that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for listening till the very end. Thank you.